This week on the Media Boss Podcast.
I just recently won the 2024 Women of Heart Award in London. As a mastermind leader and builder, I'm a certified mastermind leader. So when I say I have a mastermind, it's a real one. It's not a pitch fest that you're coming to. It's an actual mastermind.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Media Boss Podcast. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews, and have I got a great episode for you. I know you're saying, Barrett, you're going to say it again, aren't you? You're going to say that you have a great guest and a great show. Well, I can't help it if the people I know are just incredible, and they help bring that incredible nature to the podcast, which is the Media Boss Podcast. And if this is your first time here, I want to let you guys know what we do is we bring to you some of the top minds in business, and we let you know what made them the bosses that they are, the struggles, the triumphs that they had. And who am I? Some of you may be wondering that. I am Dr. Barrett Matthews. I am known to some as the Media Boss, but really Media Boss is about you, because what I want to do is get you to control your media. When you can control your media, then you can become a media boss. We help you do that at Media Boss Pro, and we can talk to you about that at another time. But the Media Boss Pro podcast would not be available to you if it were not for the great people at GoBox Studio. If you don't know what GoBox Studio is, I want you guys to check this out right now. Okay, did you see that? Did you like that? I think you did. If you did, I want you guys to hit me up later, and we'll talk to you about how you can get yourself a GoBox Studio. Now, I am excited now because I get to bring on my guest. I'm really excited about that because this lady has become near and dear to me very quickly, very quickly. I mean, we haven't even known each other 6 months yet. But I want to tell you, she is a business mentor. She deals with team building and scaling. She's royalty. We're going to talk about that later as well. But she has spoken on stages with Les Brown, Kevin Harrington, all the great names, the big names that you all see, and you're wondering, wow, how can I get close to these people? She's close to them. She has a vineyard. I mean, the woman is incredible. I'm excited to spend time with her. She's an author, several-time author, best-selling author. I got one of her books right here. And so I want to bring to you none other than my dear, dear friend, Lady Jen du Plessis, Dame Lady Jen du Plessis. I want to welcome you to the media. But I know your ego is not there. I know. But I still want to just pay respect to you and bring you to the podcast. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much. I have waited for this podcast, So we should probably tell people how we met. We met on the Podcasters Cruise. So whenever you go on a cruise and you're doing conference work, and we were all about podcasting, we've been on the beach. I've taken photos of you. We've hung out in the water. We've hung out at, all kinds of places. It condenses the experience. And so we feel like we know each other, several years. Several years.
Yeah, and then just to let you know, I just got a call before we came home from my father's phone, and she said she was about to tell him hi because we talked so much about my father.
You were like, say hi to him.
Right, exactly. It's so funny because we got so close. We had some great meals together and everything. We had a lot of fun.
I heard you sing.
Yes, she heard me sing. I saw you dancing.
You danced with me. Yeah, it was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah, we had a great time on that cruise. But let's get into you. So let's talk about your beginnings. Because you didn't just come into just born into just knowing all these people and doing all these great things.
No. And, it's such a long story. So I'm going to condense it as best I can. I was known as Jenny who ain't got a penny from my family. We all had nicknames, and of course that had a profound effect on me. So I said, well, I'm going to start proving that I can have pennies. And now I have lots of pennies, but there was that lingering trauma that we all experienced somehow, some way in our business, in our lives. And But I took that into my personal life. I took that into my work life, and it allowed me to succeed. So I'm grateful for it. And so I've had this 40-year career in financial services, and top in my industry, billions of dollars of funding done.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it really just elevated me up to that, but it was all about the drive of that, about proving that I was not Jenny who ain't got a penny. So that's really where that started. Now I just have that DNA of, stop talking, take action, get results. I
Yeah.
hear people talking all the time, and they're not taking the action to get the results. And I've been known as Mrs. Action. Someone called me that one time,
I like
because I
that.
take
I
action
call you that.
all the time. I'm such an implementer. Yeah. And really a mirror too. I learn from others and I say, oh, if that's working for them, then let me try it for me. And then I genize it, right? And make it my own. And, it's just that accumulation of all the learning that we learn from everyone around us. And if we, are going to play in a silo,
Yeah.
we're never going to grow. And so I love learning from everyone. And that's really where it all started. And today I'm mentoring high level, high performance business owners that feel stuck and need to build teams and grow.
I love it. And one thing about you, and I know people may not be able to get it through the podcast, but yet you have an aura of confidence about you. And I
Thank you.
love it. I see, and I know some people may be intimidated by that, but I
Yes, I've
love it.
heard that.
Yeah, I love it. That's what drew me too. That's why every time I wanted to spend all the time around you, just hanging around you, because I love that aura of confidence that
Yeah.
you
Thank
have.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. It was just like, I'm like, that's my buddy right there. I was like, I gotta go hang with her, because it was just so much fun talking to you. And a lot of people, like I said, they may be intimidated, and I think that intimidation comes from maybe their own insecurities. And
Yeah, it can. And, and I know I have this aura about me. My dad was a lot like Clint Eastwood, very quiet, didn't say
okay,
much. And my mom was the talker, right? The yacker and the talker. So I had these two elements about me, that when you get to know me, I'm fun and great and all these things in my mom. But when you first see me, it's not that I'm an introvert. I'm just very much of an observer of people. And that's where I get that from my dad. It's not a judgmental thing.
yeah,
It's
I get
just
it. I get it.
observance. Someone, Dr. Greg Reed, who's the founder of, Secret Knock and wrote 3 Feet from Gold. He said to me, Jen, you're so presidential when you walk in the room. And I don't know what that means, but sounds good. But it's just the way that I am. But gosh, once I strike a conversation, I love talking to people about it. But I am an observer. I'm I'm really smart. I am really, really a smart person. So I tend to not lead with my mouth. I tend to lead with my eyes and ears, looking around and observing. And I think that that's where that comes from. But I am not intimidated I'm sorry, intimidating.
I mean,
I'm neither.
that's the thing. You're actually a fun person.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're a very fun person. I enjoyed myself hanging around you, and I had a ball. So I just want to let the audience know that she's a fun person. Okay.
Yeah, I did
Now,
too. I had fun too.
tell everybody in a nutshell what you do for your clients.
Yeah, clients that are most attracted to working with me are anywhere from 500,000, as an entrepreneur, 500,000 top line revenue to up to 30 million top line revenue with a big company, and they feel stuck. And typically they're feeling stuck because they feel that they can't rely on their team, their managers, their, support, because perhaps they themselves didn't get the right training to be a manager, a leader, a coach to their employees. And so they don't know how to scale. They can't get out from underneath. They're stuck. And that's what I help them do. I help them get above their business so they can get that bird's eye view, so that they can go beyond their business and have the lifestyle that they always dreamed of when they started the business.
I like that. I like that. And I'm gonna put you on the spot here, because I know you don't want to do this, but I'm gonna tell everyone about you've gotten a number of accolades.
Which oh
And let's
God.
talk about some of the accolades that you've been given for the work that you've done.
Oh gosh. Oh geez. Well, let's see.
Like I
Could,
told you,
yeah, I
you're
know.
making it uncomfortable there.
Yeah, and I don't know that I can get to all of them either. But I mean, some things that are for me. I just recently won the 2024 Women of Heart Award in London. As a mastermind leader and builder, I'm a certified mastermind leader. So when I say I have a mastermind, it's a real one. It's not a pitch fest that you're coming to. It's an actual mastermind. Um, I've been, gosh, I've awarded the Impact Mentor of the Year from a women's organization last year. I received, I don't know. I mean, it just goes on and on. I've received so many things. And, the thing is, what I really like about it is that, once I retired from being in the mortgage business, in the financial services side, many years, or when I retired like 8 years ago, all of those accolades were always about my production.
Yeah.
And all the accolades I'm receiving now is about the impact and significance I'm making in other lives. And that is more meaningful,
Of course.
believe it or not.
I believe
Yeah,
it.
it's so meaningful for me. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just wanted to get that out there so people know that this woman is the truth. So now, oh, no problem, no problem at all. Now, here's another thing, because this is a rare occasion here. I want you guys to know on the Media Boss podcast. Many of you who know me, if you follow me, you understand that I am a royal advisor to a king.
Yes, you are.
What? This you see at the bottom is a late Dame Lady Jen. That's not a title she gave herself. So,
Yeah, I'm not Lady Gaga or Queen.
right. So if you could please talk about that.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think everyone's real familiar with Elton John being knighted and became Sir Elton John by the Queen Elizabeth in the House of Windsor, which is what Queen Elizabeth is part of. I have been knighted in the House of Cappadocia. It's another kingdom, and knighted by Prince Raphael. That's the highest level in that particular kingdom. Not all kingdoms have kings and queens anymore. And I was knighted and nominated to be knighted for my philanthropy work. I do a lot of philanthropy work. Virtually everything that I do has a charitable component to it.
I know that about you.
And so that was done first. I was nominated for that, and it surprised me when I got a call from the prince, and I was like, "Yeah, right." The prince on the phone with me. And then I was excited, and then I found out he's 80 years old, and I was not excited as much. But I love him. I love him. He's unbelievable. He speaks 14 languages fluently. He's the most incredible man. Absolutely love him. But I was like, oh, Prince Charming. And then, no, okay, so not so much. And I've been married for 42 years, so I'm not going to go anywhere, But yeah, so that was good. And then the second half of that is, once you get through the charitable piece of it, is what are you doing in your business to give back through charity, right? So someone could be doing a lot of charitable work, but then when they're working, they're just keeping all the money for themselves.
Yeah.
And they're not letting the world know from a social aspect that, what I do also serves charity. And, Grant Cardone says this. He says that people quit on money. And when you hear him talk about this whole thing, is that those who know how to make money, and let's just use $1 million, like, okay, I made $1 million, I got mine, and then we quit. Well, if you know how to make $1 million, you can make 6 million really easily, and then 20 million super fast. Yeah. And so we quit on money. So if you know how to do something like that, let's say you know how to make 100,000, then go make 500,000 and start giving back for the overflow.
Yeah, and it's interesting you said that, because one of the mentors that I follow, a friend of mine actually, Myron Golden, and he talks about that, how people have this mindset that it's greedy to earn money. And, right. And what he said is that he said his brother once said that to him. And he asked, he said, well, let me ask you a question. He said, how healthy do you want to be? And his brother said, well, healthy as I can. He said, your kids are in school, how smart would you like them to be? He said, as smart as they can be. He said, well, why can't I have as much money as I want to have? Why is that wrong? He said, if I'm not using it for evil, what means or something, why is it wrong for me to want more of it and to have abundance? And that's, I'm glad you brought that up there, because and it's like he always talked. He said it's not. He don't even call it giving back. He said it's giving. He said I don't owe this to give back. He said I'm giving because I want to give.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it. I love that. Yeah. Because it's not giving back. I think what happens in life, I always have this, I have a lot of phrases
Yeah.
that I've come up with, but I think we learn
Oh,
and
I
then we
know.
learn and then we return, right? You've read that, huh?
Yeah, that's got a lot of phrases.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Learn, earn, and return. I think that we get to that point, where we're earning money and, we're struggling at the beginning and then we're climbing some corporate ladder and then we kind of find our groove, and then we're going, I don't know if I want to work anymore, but I do want to work, but what else could I do? There's got to
Yeah.
be more there. And then the learn, earn, and the return comes back, starts coming in. And, so if you find yourself straddling that, it's time to start working harder so you can give more.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Let's talk about your books. Let's talk about the book that you have, and I'd love to learn more about this. Let the audience learn more about your books.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I have 4 published books of my own. They're all #1 bestsellers on Amazon. I'm working on my 5th book now. I should have that out by the end of this year, 2025. And the first book, little story about the first book is I didn't want to do it. Someone, I was starting to do that straddle of earn return, right? And I was leaving the mortgage industry and saying, I'm going to take the trajectory was really high for coaching and speaking and stuff. So someone said, well, you have to have a book in order to get on stages. And I was like, oh, I've been on like a whole bunch of stages. Why do I have to have that? Well, you need it. You need it. And so I was bamboozled into doing my first book, which is called Launch: How to Take Your Business to New Heights. And it's not for startups. It's for everybody. Everybody's got gaps. I have gaps. You have gaps. We all have gaps. And it's really a how-to book because everybody knows what they need to do. But I'm like, well, again, stop talking, take action, get results. So that was that book. That's my favorite. Well, my first book. Unfortunately, my mom died while I was writing the book.
Sorry.
And so it has a little bit of that. Every time I think about it, I think about my mom, and then my next 2 books were impact. I was on some group call, maybe a mastermind, and I realized that we all talk in acronyms, right? And we know this, every industry does. And I said, you know what? I think I'm going to put a book together of acronyms. I'm going to reach out to all these coaches and speakers and business owners and ask them, what's an acronym you use? And how do you apply it in your business? And within 6 weeks, we published Impact 1, which I think you have Impact 2. I think you have Volume 2, the yellow one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first one is black with yellow writing. That one's yellow with black writing. That's what we did, is we just inverted it. And so we put it out in 6 weeks. Well, then I had such a waiting list of people wanting to be in it. We had to put it on another one. So we did another one. And it's like herding cats, I swear. But Greg Reed, again, I interview all the authors in this book. At the end of each chapter, we bring them to life. And one of the things that he said to me is, well, who's interviewing you? And I said, oh gosh, I didn't even think about that. So he interviewed me, and I guess every other word that came out of my mouth was impact. And he said, now I have the name of the book, and he's my publisher. And he wanted to call it BOA, Book of Acronyms. And I said, no, it's like a snake. I don't want to do that. So I came up with the acronym for impact, which is inspiring, motivational, powerful acronyms for cognitive thinking. And that's where that is. Then the last one is called Tell Me I Can't. Because Jenny Who Ain't Got a Penny was told she couldn't all the time. You can't do that. You're not good enough. You're not this, you're not rich enough, your parents, blah, blah, blah. And so I said, I want to do a book about my thoughts as someone is told, tell me I can't. It was written by a Hallmark and Lifetime movie writer. So it reads like a movie. If you watch Hallmark, you know how it's going to end. It's a fiction book, but the main character, it's her thoughts about how she might not be good enough for the task that she's been given. And those are my thoughts. Those are the thoughts I had over the years, and, ultimately said, I am good enough. Tell me I can't and get out of my way. Tell me I can't and watch what I do.
I love it. So, and then talk about your podcast. You have
I have 3.
Yeah.
I don't do anything easy, do I? Yeah, my first podcast is called Mortgage Lending Mastery. I started it when I was in the mortgage business, the longest running podcast in that space. We have over 2 million downloads. I've been out there for a while.
Yeah.
Second one is called Success to Significance, Life After Breaking Through Glass Ceilings. And that is not for women. It is all the ceilings we break through, the personal and financial and business ceilings, and what it was like going through it, and what are you doing now that you're on the other side. And then the last podcast, which is my newest podcast, which is called Business on the Vine, where you heard it through the grapevine, where we plant seeds and harvest ideas, and we drink wine while we're doing the podcast, when we are doing it live. And you are going to be on that show, which I can't wait. So I have a TV show of the same name, and you're coming and going to be on the show. We're going to film in the vineyards in May. I'm excited.
Right after my birthday, so that's cool.
Yes. Oh, I know. On the 15th. We're letting it right now. May 15th.
Yeah.
Was it the 15th? Yeah.
May 15th. Yeah, that's my birthday.
Yeah.
I turned the big 6-0.
Oh, wow. You're younger than me. Woo.
Yeah. What I am?
Yes, by 2 years. Oh, good.
Well, we look good, right? We both look good.
Yeah, we look great. We look great. As long as I'm sitting.
And I have 5 podcasts, so there you go. But
Yeah.
So
Overachiever.
Before we wrap up, I want to ask you, what is the thing that keeps Lady Jen up at night? What's the thing that really just stays on your mind?
Oh, up at night? Let's see. Oh, I haven't been asked that question in a really long time because I sleep so well. I usually sleep 9 to 10. I sleep 9 to 10 hours a night. I like to sleep. What keeps me up at night? I probably, these days, I'm worried about one of my family members. I think that's what keeps me up at night. There's nothing about business that does, because, I've chosen to work with a, select group of people that want to take action, want to make moves. I don't need to work. So I don't really get stressed over any of that, but, my family is super important to me. And one of them is going through a little bit of a struggle. So that's what's keeping me up at night right now. Worrying about them. I shouldn't say worrying. I don't like that word, but praying for them.
Well, there you go. I understand that. And that makes sense. I'm doing the same thing. And one last question. What are you most excited about?
Oh, I'm excited about this year. My, you know how everybody has a word for the year?
Yeah.
Or we try to, right? I don't know if you have a word this year, but I have a word. Except I couldn't find one word. So I made it a hashtag so that it can be a word, right? And it's hashtag less is more. And so I really analyzed, the FOMO versus the promo of attending things and going to things and saying yes to things. And I've really started saying, that if I truly want to have control of my life and control of what, like you said, control out in the media, and I want to have control, that I have to be more selective in all that I do, more selective about magazine covers I'm on, more selective about being someone's, on someone's summit. And do I really want to send 20 swipe copies to my organization? So I'm really excited about less is more, and about doing more mastermind retreats this year. So we're going to ramp that up a little bit. Because I love having those experiential, events, like here at our lake house, right? We've done retreats here at the lake house where we bring people up here, and real small, intimate retreats for the right people. So I'm excited about that.
Well, Lady Jen, I want to thank you so much for being a part of the Media Boss podcast today. We're tight. So,
thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I appreciate it.
No problem. I look forward to it. So everyone, make sure you follow up with her. You'll see all her information in the show notes as well. So make sure you follow up with her. And guess what, guys? We will be right back right after this, because I have something special for you that you're going to love just to go along with this. Okay? Be right back.
Let's face it, you've been talking about starting a podcast for quite some time, but you haven't started yet. Why is that? Could it be that you just don't have the time because your day-to-day keeps you so busy? Or could it be that you don't want to learn all the technical aspects that go into putting together a quality podcast? Well, at Media Boss Club, we take care of that for you. How would you like to have a done-for-you experience? That's right. At Media Boss Club, we build your podcast for you. We will edit your podcast. We will put in the music for you. We even put in commercial breaks that you can put your advertisers in. We will take care of all of the uploading to the great podcast platforms that are out there. That's right, we do everything. All you have to do is just right now go to MediaBossClub.com. That's MediaBossClub.com, and let us handle the heavy lifting for you.
All right, everybody. Now, was that great or was that great? I want to thank Lady Jen for being a guest on the Media Boss podcast today. Look, and remember, I mentioned to you earlier, if you want to get a GoBox studio, make sure you talk to me. We can leave that in the comments, whatever. We can get you a GoBox studio. But if you guys are really interested in becoming a media boss, I think you ought to take a look at the Make Money from Media challenge that I'm doing. It's a 5-day challenge to show you how to use media to make it so that you can be more visible to your people. The Make Money from Media challenge. Want to know more about it? Check this out. All right, did you like that? Do you like the challenge? Take the challenge. It's easy. Go to makemoneyfrommediachallenge.com. Go ahead and get registered today. I recommend come in as a VIP, but you can come in general admission as well. But we recommend that you definitely come in. Now, I mentioned to you earlier that I had something for you. If you are someone who wants to go travel around the world, I have a travel club that I'm a part of, and it's exclusive. Everybody can't get in, but we have something here for you. You can scan this code here you see on the screen, and we will show you how you can get access to this travel club and get discounted rates. I'm just going to throw one thing out there, and I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to be staying in Dubai for 1 week for only $1. And I'm leaving it there. If you want to know more about it, then you'll scan the code and you'll find out more. But on that note, guys, like I said, I want to thank Dame Lady Jen for joining us today on the Media Boss podcast. I want to thank you guys for joining me today. And as I always say before we leave, you are someone special because you are God's vessel. Everybody, have a great day. We'll see you next time on the Media Boss podcast.